Hey everyone, welcome to another Cabinet Vision Guy tech tip. In today's episode, we're back in the section editor and we're going to be looking in detail at some of the properties that we can specify when we're on assembly level. So if you're not familiar with this, we're in section editor here, and up at the top, we've got the properties menu for the assembly. And if I just click on general for a second, I guess the first thing to point out is the tabs that we've got in here represent the drop down menu. So I'm just going to enter this obviously at general and we'll start from here. So the general options that we've got for our assembly is we can give our assembly a name, obviously. We can also give it a description. We can modify the quantity from here as well. So if we want to make a repeat of this assembly, we can do. We can enter a price for the assembly. We can also enter the minutes needed for this assembly as well. If you haven't seen it and you're looking to set up pricing, I'd advise you to go watch our series on the bidding multiplier. We can also specify a class of assembly, and if I just click the drop down, you'll see that we've got the class base, upper, tall, and vanity. And we can also specify a type as well. Now, typically we wouldn't really change the class and type. This would be something we'd set maybe when we're saving the assembly away, but you can modify this from here if you need to. It's also worth noting, if you just hover over any item, there is a really helpful tooltip that will tell you what something is. So we can also modify the width, the depth, and the height of the assembly from here as well. So if I modify the width of my assembly to 1200 and hit OK, you'll see that everything will regenerate and resize to the sizes that I've given. We can also specify that we want to lock the width of this assembly. So if we're making an assembly that's fixed in size, we can do that from here as well. Now, the construction tab will automatically follow what we've got set on either the job or the room properties. But if we need to, we can click in the drop down and select a new construction method, or a different construction method, should I say. And that's true for the cabinets, the drawer box, and the rollouts. Now, what's really handy is we've also got this option modify for this assembly. So if you are creating a truly bespoke one-off assembly and you want to modify the construction method just for this one, you can hit modify for this assembly. And that's true for the cabinets, the drawer box, and the rollouts as well. Under materials, we can select the material schedule that we're using for this assembly for the base material schedule. Now, if I had an upper unit selected and inserted here, we'd see this part for the base material schedule would be grayed out and the upper material schedules would be live. Because we've got a base unit selected, obviously we can just see the base material schedules. And again, we can modify for this assembly too. And this again is true for the drawer box material schedules that we can also select from here, and the rollout material schedules as well. Now onto the doors tab. With this, we can select the door type that we're using, and I'll just minimize these for a second. But you'll see this has also been broken down. So this again is set with the job and room properties initially, but this is then broken down for the base unit. So we've got base, we've got drawer front, and then we've got the base end panel that we might want to apply to this unit. And we can modify the style, the material, and all the edge profiles that we've got applied to this door as well. Now, if we do have overrides in this section, we can hit remove overrides. You'll see that I've got a couple set up for my assembly, but we can also specify that we want grain matching on this one too. So again, another handy menu that you should probably be aware of. Under hardware, we can select the hardware that we want to use. Again, we've just got the drop downs to pick a new pull schedule, a new drawer guide schedule, or hinge schedule. We've also got the sliding door rail schedules in here as well if we're doing a sliding door wardrobe. If we do have an inset hinge selected, which obviously I've got because I'm working with a face frame, we'll also be able to select a bead profile in here too. And again, we've got the option for modifying for this assembly. And again, I'm going to point out that this doesn't modify any other assembly within this job. It just modifies this one single unit again, which is great for creating a bespoke one-off. Now, the reason I've used a face frame assembly, and I'll just move this across here, is we can also modify, and if we are using a face frame assembly, we get the option for frame. We can modify the frame sizing from here as well. So we can specify the top rail, the left style, the bottom rail, and the right style. We can also specify the joints as well. So we've got short, long, and mitre. If I change these to mitre, for example, and I'll do the top left and I'll do the top right, you'll see that these now mitre together. While we're just away from the menu, I am going to point out, if we go into modifications and overrides, you'll see that any modifications that I'm making to the assembly properties will come up in the overrides from here. And now if I'm not happy with any modifications that I made, for example, the frame joints that we've just set, I can highlight these and just hit remove and OK, and this will go back to standard. So the next tab we've got is for the case, and again this one is really powerful just with some of the modifications that we make. So at the moment my construction method is dictating that I'm using a top stretcher, but if I need to I can also select no top, a full top, a web frame or gussets. So again, if I want to change this to a full top I can do so. I've got a base set up in my construction method, but if I need to for any reason I can select no bottom in here as well. And I can also tick exposed interior. So if I've got different material schedules set up for my standard assemblies and my exposed interior assemblies, I can tick that from here too, and it'll pick up a different material. You'll see we've got two selected. We've got a standard and we've got an exposed interior here. Now, if our construction method allows it, we can also specify different scribes from here as well. So you'll see the top scribe I've currently got in at 0. I'm just going to change that to 50 to show you the effect. And I'll also change the inside scribe here too, and I'll probably go 60 on this one and 60 on this one. Now, whether the scribe is set up for the inside or the outside, again, is dictated by the construction method. The 0.5 mil is for the end panel and frame relation. So if I just hit OK, you'll see that this has now moved well outside of our frame because we've changed it to a ridiculous size. And if I just go into end view, you'll see that we've now got, if I just turn on snap marks and measure this, we should now have 60 mil down for the top, or 50 mil down, should I say. So you can modify scribes from here too. Now, if the scribe is set to be applied to the outside, it's going to push the end panels in. If the scribe is applied to the inside, it's going to push the end panels out, as we've seen. And again, I'm going to go back to properties and frame, and I'll set these back at 0.5. If I do the left hand side first, we'll see our end panel move to our inside. And then I'll do the right hand side as well. And I'll set the top back at 0. You can also modify things like the inset of the back. So for example, if I change this one to 200 and go back to 3D, you'll see that our back is now inset into our cabinet by 200 mil. So this one again is really powerful if we're creating a bespoke one-off unit. Now the next tab that we've got is for the toe or the plinth. So my current toe height is set to be 130 mil with a front recess of 50. If I've got my construction method set up to have a back toe, we'll also be able to modify the back recess in there. And again, if we've got a number of sleepers set up or a maximum size in the construction method, and we've got our end panels set to run to the top of our frame, we can modify the left recess and the right recess. For now, I'm just going to modify the toe height, and I'll change the inset to 100 mil as well. And you'll see that that instantly jumps up and our toe is now set back into our unit. If we go back into our menu, we can also change the end panel type from here as well. So for example, if we want to, we can go to a notched end. And you'll see at that point our frame then falls short and then we've got a notch in place. If I go back to section view and properties and toe, we've also got the back toe type. So currently it's set to none. We can set this to unfinished or finished. If we have an applied end set up in our construction method, we can also set up the left sub end toe and the right sub end toe in here as well. For our next menu, we've got boring, which is kind of ironic given it's one of my videos, but we've got boring style. So currently we've got this set up, and again this is following our construction method. We've got bore only required holes. We can also change this to no boring holes whatsoever, so it'll remove all the adjustable shelf boring and the construction method boring too. We've got bore all holes, so if we want to do a line bore that runs the full sort of length of the assembly for something like a closet or a wardrobe, we can change that in here. We've got bore only required holes, which is exactly what we've got set up at the moment. So this will put our construction method holes and our connections for things like the adjustable shelf, which again is set on our construction method. And the last one, we've got bore by opening. And what this will do is it will break up a line bore based around the opening itself. So it'll put a line bore in for each sort of case opening. So if we put a fixed shelf in there, rather than putting a line bore that continues all the way through the assembly, it will choose to break it up. Now, if I just change this to bore all holes for a second, you'll see that we do get options in here for how we want to drill this. So we've got the first hole location, the line bore hole depth, the diameter, the front line bore setback, and the rear line bore setback as well. We've also got a few different options. We've got balanced panels, and what this means is the line bore itself will be equally spaced from the top and bottom of each end panel or interior component. We've got the option, if I go to bore only required holes, we can align shelves to system holes, and this means that when we add an adjustable shelf, it will be on 32mm increments or whatever we've got our construction boring set up to. We've also got align reveals to system holes, which is quite similar. Apart from when we're sectioning the face, it will align the reveal to the system hole. And if we go on to bore by opening, you'll see that we've got the option for balanced openings in here as well. And this means that the line bore that's going into each opening will be equally spaced again with the same distance from the top and the bottom there too. Now, depending on what we've got set up for our construction method, we've also got the option to enable or disable top construction holes and bottom construction holes. Currently, I think I've got my construction set up to use a connector, and I think this only comes in when we've got line boring set up for things like the doweling, for example, for our construction method. Now, if you're not too sure about any of the options that we've got in here under boring, don't worry about it. You can head into the help file, and there is a section for boring set up, and this will explain what each individual setting does. It also uses some nice diagrams as well, as you can see, which is a little bit better explanation than some of my voiceover. So I'm just going to set this to bore only required holes like I had it set originally, and I'm going to head onto the next tab where we've got set for our legs. Now, my construction method is not using legs at the moment, but I could apply these anyway, and we can hit select down here and then select the leg that we want to apply. Again, just a reminder with this one, it's best off to set this one through the construction method and then modify the leg that you want to use. Just because with the construction method, we get a few different options for where we actually want to place the leg and some of the insets that we want to use from the different end panel types. The next option that we've got here is for flutes. Now, I have done a separate tech tip for adding flutes to components, but the only difference is that we've got the option to add a flute to the left style and the right style in here. So I'm just going to enable that for a second, and I'm just going to go back to our frame, and I'm going to set the left style at 100 and right style at 100 just to make it a little bit bigger so we can see. But you'll see what happens then is we get the fluted option applied to our styles that we've got on the left and right as well. If I just go into texture mode, we'll be able to see those a little bit better. Now, if I go back to section view, into our properties, the last menu that we need to look at is for the finishes. So this allows us to specify the finish color that we've got for our assembly, and also the interior and exterior texture as well. We can specify the finish color by interior and exterior too. So if we select, and I'll select a different texture first, and then we select something different, and I'll go with a green color so we can see the difference. You can see that we've now got a texture applied, and we're also mixing that texture with the finish color, which is a very, very dark green, almost a black color. Hopefully you've found this tech tip useful. I did take a little bit longer than expected. Feel free to give us a like, share and subscribe. We're also on Facebook. That's facebook.com/thecabinetvisionguy, and Instagram too. That's instagram.com/thecabinetvisionguy. Cheers.